Well, Schoolhouse Rock back in the 70s was right. Knowledge is power. And in the lack of knowledge, there is ignorance. And if there's ignorance, there's some psychopathic parasite who wants to capitalize on and exploit that ignorance. So I'm going to constantly remind us of what Anthony Fauci said here in the New England Journal of Medicine. That's not a fly-by-night periodical, guys. Dr. Anthony Fauci, part of the coronavirus task force, literally said the overall clinical consequences of COVID-19, we're talking about COVID-19 and nothing else, may ultimately be more akin to those of a severe seasonal influenza, which has a case fatality rate of approximately 0.1%, not 3.4%, 0.1%. We're shutting down the world for 0.1% as people are paralyzed by heat maps like this. Oh my God, people are dying. You have to understand, guys, according to the CDC's own website, 38 to 54 million flu illnesses have been recorded by the CDC, who initially with the World Health Organization told you that the death rate with COVID-19 was 3.4%, and yet Fauci is saying the case fatality rate is approximately 0.1%. So people are in fear because they're ignorant. And where there is ignorance, there's somebody that's going to fill that gap and exploit that ignorance for their own benefit, not for your benefit. Key bono, who benefits with a government shutdown? Who benefits when your family's business goes out of business? Who benefits when you move from the middle class to become poor? Poverty will destroy more people's lives than any virus ever thought about destroying. Now, I want to go through some things that, I'm watching videos all day long, but there are certain things that people inject, the mainstream fake stream media injects into the subconscious and conscious minds of the masses. The reason we're at a level where we're at today with all this, medical martial law, these stay-at-home orders, these curfews being enacted, these checkpoints. Look at this. Look at these Florida checkpoints. Listen to this for a second.
Starting today, checkpoints will reinforce the order that closed the Florida Keys to visitors. At least 14 cases of coronavirus have been confirmed in Monroe County.
Checkpoints, no matter what the reason they're foisted on the people, is a suspension of constitutional rights, the restriction of freedom of movement. They're basically saying you're not free anymore because COVID-19 is roaming the streets and we have to protect you from it. So we're going to protect you with fresh rounds of tyranny. That's what a checkpoint is. Let's go back to this. Listen very carefully. You've got musicians, all these celebrities getting up there going, hey, we're locked in our homes and we just need to comply because it's the right thing to do. Listen to how they slide this stuff in here through the Morning Joe on this interview with Jon Bon Jovi. Check this out.
The truth is that music knows no borders. And at the end of the day, it's the great healer and a great communicator. And through generations, music has brought people together. And I know that personally because, I both as a fan and as a writer have been able to communicate these messages. And in these trying times, you find something that is about the narrative that we're all living.
What are we living, John? We're living a narrative. Whose narrative are we living? The World Health Organization's narrative, the CDC's narrative, the White House's narrative, Washington's District of Criminals narrative, and mainstream media's narrative. That's the narrative we're all living. And the problem is, and it's not even so much that there are parasitic psychopaths who want to rule us. It's that there are people out there who are so duped, they want to be ruled. The greatest enemy are the people who roll over and submit to tyranny. A tyrant is nothing unless somebody submits to him. But listen to what he says here.
When does a writer have an opportunity to be in the same situation as his audience? And so when I came up with the idea for this song, I had written it in its entirety.
Basically, what the context here is he wrote a song and he's looking for people who are already locked in, like he is, who are going to finish the song. And so he has a lot of people writing to him to finish the song. It says Jon Bon Jovi asked listeners to help him with a song on The Morning Joe. But listen to what he says. Here's the interjection of heavy doses of psychological operations to change the minds of the lemming masses to realize, oh yeah, government's doing this for our good. We need to stay shut in. We need to stay isolated. We need to wash our hands 10 times a day. We need to submit to the curfews. We need to submit to the authorities. We need to bow down to the totalitarians.
But I shared the first verse and chorus because everyone has a story to tell. And thousands of these submissions have been coming in telling me what they're going through.
Now, I got to break this up or they'll give me a community guideline strike. But check this out. It's coming. It's coming.
And in truth, you know, while we're all in quarantine and doing the right thing, when you can't...
And he emphasized that. We're all in quarantine doing the right thing. The implication there is if you don't quarantine, if you don't self-isolate, if you don't socially distance, if you don't continue to wash your hands, if you don't obey the authorities, you're doing the wrong thing. But because we're quarantined, we're doing the right thing. The right thing equals submit to governing authorities. Submit to what mainstream, lamestream teleprompter readers are telling you to do. That's the right thing. If you do anything other than what you're told by the government, you are doing the wrong thing. Now check this out.
We're very worried about every city in the United States. And
Do you really think government functionaries are worried about any individual in the United States other than grabbing their own power, patting their own backs, patting their own pockets?
potential for this virus to get out of control. If we do things together well, almost perfectly, we could get in the range of 100,000 to 200,000.
And what is doing things well and perfectly? Submitting to that curfew, submitting to your stay-at-home order, listening to your governors, listening to your mayors, listening to your presidents, submitting. Let them suspend constitutional rights. Let them freeze your freedoms. Let them throw mountains of debt at the situation through this $6.2 trillion stimulus package, which is nothing more, nothing less than a corporate bailout. Submit to that, and then you'll be safe. If we do those things perfectly, well, we might lose 100 or 200,000 Americans, but you got to submit, because if you don't, it's going to be way worse. Oh, God, let me tell you, we're appearing here on mainstream media because we care about you. And corporate media wants you to hear this message because they care about you.
Fatalities.
That's right.
So if we do things almost perfectly, 200,000 Americans could still die from the coronavirus. Already the death toll stands at 3,003, more than the number of lives lost on 9/11.
So mainstream constantly feeding you garbage, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now listen to this guy. Listen to the criminal of New York.
Everyone is subject to this virus. It is the great equalizer.
Everyone is subject to this virus? Even people with strong immune systems? Are we just supposed to take Andrew Cuomo's word for it because he's the governor of New York? Are we just supposed to believe what he says because it's he who said it? Why would you believe a lying, parasitic politician who does nothing to create anything or generate anything of value in life? Listen to what he says about essential and non-essential jobs.
I don't care how smart, how rich, how powerful you think you are. I don't care how young, how old. This virus is the great equalizer.
Actually, the virus called government is the great equalizer, because they're the ones who are going to initiate unjust force and violence on you if you don't obey them. And how will you escape from them? If you try to defend yourself, then they're going to unload all the resources, everything that they have at their disposal, till they hunt you down and bring you to what they call justice.
My brother Chris is positive for coronavirus. Found out
That's Chris Cuomo, one of the anchors for the Communist News Network.
this morning. He is going to be fine. He's young, in good shape, strong, not as strong as he thinks, but he will be fine. But there's a lesson in this. He's an essential worker, member of the press, so...
There you go. He declares his brother to be an essential worker because he's a member of the press. He's a member of fake stream media, guys. He's out there shoveling out boatloads of verbal poison every single day, getting people to fear, capitalizing on their ignorance, exploiting their lack of knowledge about what they're talking about. But he's an essential worker. You're not an essential worker, though. You have to close up your coffee shop. You have to close up your business, your small business that's going under. You have to wonder how you're going to get food on the table because you, in the eyes of parasites like this, are not an essential worker. And if you go to work, then we're going to shame you because you are jeopardizing public health. That's how insidious this is, guys. I want to look at one more thing, okay? Don't trust political parasites. Don't trust celebrity parasites. Don't trust anybody who's trying to foist this crap on you and telling you you need to give up your liberty so that we can give you a little bit of security. Remember what Benjamin Franklin said? Those who would give up a little essential liberty to obtain a little politically promised security deserve neither liberty nor security. And what have we done as a nation? We've easily rolled over. They didn't even have to blow us down. They just spoke words and we just fell back and said, okay, even if we go bankrupt, we're just going to obey you, daddy government. And you, like I've told you and many others have told you, and like you probably know to be true yourself, you don't even have to believe it. You know it. When they grab power and they get power, they want more power. When they grab your money and they get more money, they want even more money. That $6.2 trillion, that wasn't enough. Check out what Donald Trump tweeted out today. With interest rates for the United States being at zero, this is the time to do our decades-long awaited infrastructure bill. It should be very big and bold. Oh yeah, what are you asking for, Donnie? $2 trillion. That's $2 trillion more on top of the $6.2 trillion they already raked him over the coals with. The Zionist international banking cartel made out like bandits while everybody's fearing in their house for some COVID-19 virus that mainstream media and government are trying to scare you with so that they can take more money from you, so they can extract more power from you. $2 trillion and be focused solely on jobs and rebuilding the once great infrastructure of our country, phase 4. And you know what's scary about this tweet? Not so much that a psychopath said it. And you're like, oh my God, you must be a libtard. Hillary Clinton is a psychopath. That's why I tweeted out, nothing has changed. Barack Obama piled up debt like a demon on crack, and Donald Trump aims to one-up him in a mad race to the pits of economic hell. If this doesn't show Trump followers that he's as much of a banker puppet as Barry, nothing will. And even mainstream media understands this. Listen to this.
Well, Alex, given the political climate then and how fast we got that $2 trillion phase 3 relief package out the door, is the political climate maybe a little bit different this time around? We're maybe putting in an infrastructure bill of this magnitude without it being paid for might actually fly through Congress.
Without it being paid for, what are they saying? Roll the presses. Put zeros and ones in bank accounts. Just magically bring nothing into existence. It's fictitious, guys. That's why Bastiat said the state is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men living together in a society, they create for themselves, in the course of time, a legal system which authorizes it and a moral code which glorifies it. And that's exactly what they're doing in this tweet right here. He is completely glorifying and reveling in the fact that, hey, we got them on the ropes. We have America on the ropes. And now is the time. This is the time to do our decades-long awaited infrastructure bill. $2 trillion more dollars. Where does it stop? It doesn't. They're train wrecking the American dollar. Wait till your prices go up. Wait till you're spending 2, 3, 4, 5 times for food. You won't be able to afford it. They're putting everybody in the poorhouse. They're causing more deaths than this COVID-19 ever could. Listen to the rest of this.
I think it is more favorable for a bill like this. Yeah, definitely.
Heck yeah, it is. When you got America on the ropes and they're shuttering in their houses and they've laid down and they've given up all their individual rights, yeah, just ask for another 2, 3, 4, $5 trillion. Heck yeah, now's the time to do it.
We all saw how quickly the $2 trillion bill moved last week. Republicans really didn't put up much resistance. No, there were very few complaints about the bill not being paid for.
Why would they put up resistance? The majority of Americans are going, oh my God, Republicans, save us from COVID-19. Oh my God, Democrats, do something, save us from COVID-19. We'll give you anything. Just strengthen the chains of our enslavement. Whatever you have to do, just save us from COVID-19. That's how everybody is right now. And yet, if we acted on knowledge, we would actually have the power to resist the political psychopaths who are increasing the chains of our oppression. That's why I always say politics is nothing more, nothing less than the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. And not just for themselves, they're demanding you be enslaved as well. And if you open up your business, you're a bad person. You haven't done what's right. You're putting lives on the line. It's utter BS. As a cover story for the biggest heist that has ever been perpetrated probably on the entire planet to date. And they're not done yet. And the pain has only begun. You think you're struggling now? Wait till hyperinflation hits us like it did with Zimbabwe or the Weimar Republic. And the last thing I wanted to say about this Trump tweet was not so much that he tweeted this saying that he wants $2 trillion more dollars, but that 155.3 thousand people liked it and almost 35,000 people retweeted it. The problem with America is all in our heads. If you guys get something out of these videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. Leave your thoughts about this. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'll see you in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.